Oh my God. Okay. I'm about to go on the lamest. Okay. None of this matters. No one cares. Okay. But I figured this out last night. Finally. Okay. All right. This is just random complaining. Okay. Okay. Time is a complicated thing, okay? There's a lot of different things that you can talk about when it comes to time. What time is it? Who knows what time it really is? What time was it? What time was it with respect to who? Okay? Einstein might have relativity and all this bullshit and frames of reference and whatever other bullshit, okay? But time, there might be daylight savings time. There could be time zone swaps that could happen at random. You have no idea, okay? So computers have this nifty little thing. Computers have this nifty little thing called Unix time. And then what the computer does is it says, okay, well, there's some date, I think it's like 1970, January 1st or something, and we're just going to count up from here in seconds. Okay. And it's like, oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. So you'll see these like Unix time codes that will be, yeah, you know, like, I don't know, anywhere from 8 to 12 digits long, depending on how many zeros they have. So for purposes of presentation to legal teams or to court or whatever, okay, I can't be shoving a whole bunch of, you know, wacky JSON or CSV files or just like crazy. It's just not readable to an ordinary person. And even in a spreadsheet, it looks kind of shitty. People want nice, cute HTML, CSS formatted things that look like, oh, this like looks like a thing a human can read. Okay. So the issue is that I have two different things. Okay. I have a Discord chat that I can export logs from. And then I have archives from a program called Redacted. Okay. Now, both of these output time in different ways, but that's okay because I should be able to make them commensurate. The goal is I need to take the redacted archive and my Discord export, and I just need to merge them to create a synthetic file that combines both sets of data, and then I can sort chronologically, and then it should look like the reassembled original conversation, right? Easy. That's easy, right? No problem. No problem. Well, so what do we do? Discord outputs in, there's a program called Discord Chat Exporter, I think. And I can set it to output in UTC plus 0. Okay. And then I have a thing called Redacted, and it outputs in Unix time. Okay, easy. So all we have to do is take all of these timestamps. Okay, so I export or import, I guess, bring into, you know, spreadsheet all of these timestamps for whatever UTC plus 0, convert all of them in a batch operation to Unix time, and then combine these two data sets and then sort chronologically, and then I can take the time and then reconvert all of it back to human time. Okay? Easy, right? Easy. Not easy. I don't know why, but nothing is lining up. And I'm spending too much time, hours, trying to figure out why there's chunks of messages up and down, and it's just not. And the short story is after like 4 fucking hours of fucking sorting through this, I finally figure out, I'm like, hold on, I can't really be this dumb. And then I start comparing the timestamps, like what? Because it'll be like her talking for this chunk and then me talking, like we're not talking to each other. And I'm like, wait a second. But sometimes it lines up, but sometimes it doesn't. And so I check the dates on what lines up, and then I check the dates on what doesn't line up. And then I realize, okay, after too many hours, that daylight savings time is applied to like 75% of the log over here, and not over here. So once I know the problem, it's easy, because then I just take this. You can take the Unix time, you can do a calculation for how much you need to subtract for daylight savings time, and then on the spreadsheet I can subtract, I think it's 14,400 is for the full EST, and then there's like, whatever, I don't remember the thing, but you can put it in the spreadsheet, and then I can do the formula on just the daylight savings time dates to remove that much time from that to change the Unix timestamps, and then merge the data sets, and I merged them, and then I clicked the sort alphabetically, and then all of it worked. But it was like 6 a.m. by the time I fucking finished creating this fucking bullshit. Oh my fucking God, AIDS. Holy shit. I don't understand if some people, what I'm not sure happened, and maybe I'm just missing something. So I'm sure there's something I'm not understanding, because what I think happened can't really be this stupid, okay? What I think happened can't really be this stupid, okay? If a doctor tells you that you need to eat this much medication, right? You know that like these things are not the same, right? You can't, these two things are not, I don't know how you put the thing, right? If something tells you need, 4.000, then your tolerance for error is like you can have, fuck, what is it? This can be up to 4 or, fuck me, I don't remember. What is it, 3 point? Like, I don't know why I wrote that backwards, but like theoretically the true value can be anywhere between here, right? But the significant figure is important, right? Because it tells you, right, this and this are not the same, right? This 4 here at the bottom, this could be bad. You don't fucking know, right? It could be that, or it could be, fuck, it could be that, right? Who the fuck knows, right? Because you're out to a certain place, right? What I think might have happened was, maybe, is I feel like one of these programs didn't actually record the timestamps in Unix time. It just did like a back conversion from the date listed to Unix time and pretended like that was a Unix time code, I think. But that's not a Unix time code, because that could be subject to a whole bunch of other weird shit like daylight savings time. Maybe, but I don't know if something did that. I would hope nothing would do that, because that seems really retarded. My imagination would be that everything would use Unix time and would only be like a front end, I don't know any terms, but like the user would never see a Unix timecode. It would just be converted for the user to see, but the underlying data would always just be in a Unix timecode. Well, I don't know. Oh my fucking God. But I figured it out. I went to sleep at like 7 or 8 a.m. So can't you spin a Discord for the log? No, Discord doesn't keep logs. The information is not on the internet forever. People think this, but it's not. Okay. Did you use AI? I tried to ask ChatGPT to help me, but he couldn't figure out what the fuck I wanted, and he kept fucking everything up. He wasn't understanding because for the Discord log, sometimes the way that it displays, I parsed it on my own. I tried to ask him to help me, but he couldn't do it. And then the site that I ended up using, I found out could just do batch conversions on its own. So I was like, fuck it, I'm sorry. So then I stopped asking him for help, and fuck him. Oh, I did ask him to help me, because this site will do batch conversions. I asked him to make a nice little HTML document after I had all the data, which he did very neatly, and that worked, but oh my God. Aaron flattened Pisco Stick for 2 hours over his debate with Prime Kai. Wait, what? Are you sure Discord doesn't keep messages? Most sites don't delete most data. You're just completely fucking wrong. I know that you guys have all seen like the movies and you think that like the FBI and the CIA can like pull every single record because everything is infinitely recorded at all points in time. It's just not true. I'm sorry. There's in some ways there's way more data out there than you think there is, and other ways there's way less data out there than you think there is. Yeah.
It's her birthday? Wait, is it actually? Well, I think there's just not enough support for female pro players and female, like, basically, like, women's anatomy and their monthly cycles are extremely different from males, and there's no proper support system for women to go through what they're going through when it comes to competition, in my opinion, at least. And I think a lot of people, like, even men that play this game just tilt out of their fucking minds when they play League of Legends. So when a woman is on the wrong part of the month to play competitively, right? I mean, there's a time in the month where you should not be fucking playing competitive games as a woman, in my opinion. This is my experience having lived with one a while. She played a lot of League Ranked. It was just like, it was really obvious when she was just getting super irritated at every little thing. And that's not trying to be sexist or anything, it's just the way it was. I think understanding, like, this is not a good time right now to, you know, actually just get up and grind. This is a time for me to relax and, you know, maybe do a bit more VOD reviewing, maybe do a bit more, you know, looking at the game. Maybe have a different account entirely to play when they're going through that. I think these can be solutions in order to make it a much more fair playing field. And I think ultimately the problem with this is, well, competition isn't going to schedule around your period or schedule around...
This is, okay, 10 out of 10. This is a troll. This has got to be a troll. He's trolling. It's funny. This is a funny troll because he's trolling, right? It's a good troll because he's trolling. He got me. He did get me. He got me. Is this chat in on the troll?
You know, weeks in the month where you're just not... You don't have as much room to be competitive, basically. Because I don't think it's not possible.
This is the current best, maybe second best top laner. Oh, he's not trolling. Fuck. I didn't know he was a top laner. I wasn't watching. He's absolutely being serious then. People that play top lane are autistic loners that have no social skills, don't interact with people much, except for like screaming occasionally when they need something. Basically, like, top laning in League is kind of like, imagine you have a low-functioning autistic person who, for the most part, can kind of like get along with their day, but every now and then they need a caretaker to come by and kind of like hold their hand through something. That's what the jungle is for. And then for like family events, when it comes time to like roam or do objectives, you have like enough people there to kind of hopefully control them or keep them under wraps so they don't freak the fuck out and kill everybody. But I didn't see it was top laner.
I just think it's much harder. That's my experience. I could be wrong, but I think it's pretty apt because ultimately this is the truth in all sports and all, like, mental sports, that is. Like, even if you look at chess, for example. I think they do a better job in those games, but I think definitely when it comes to esports, it's something that isn't even talked about. Like, people don't even consider this, you know what I mean? Cassiopeia top lane? No, it's
Okay. Based. Why? Your mic setup is literal fucking cancer. I don't know how you spend so much time being autistic just to learn the most triggering kind of compression settings. What are your problems with my compression settings? You're trolling me. Good one. Okay. It's real. Are you okay? Can we talk about Brianna Wu, who Israel's strongest soldier? Imagine being the Muslim Middle East and you're completely cooked to Israeli air superiority. Seriously, Israel feels like the Protoss at the beginning of like StarCraft, and everybody else is just Terran, kind of like watching them fly around and wreck shit. Jesus. Did I sneak over the Cuomo Hassan stuff? No, I haven't yet. I have to do a phone call at 6, okay? Don't let me forget, or else I'm gonna retire from my Unk earnings. Is your UNH stock today? Yeah, I did. It's soaring. It's always soaring.
When it comes to public safety, Zoran Mamdani...
That's not related. A terminally ill 9/11 hero. My brain just had to do so much debugging to make sense of that statement. Terminally ill, not terminally online, and then hero, but not like a league champ or a Dota hero, like a real person. And then 9/11, not like a meme, but the actual thing. 9/11. Okay. Okay. Holy shit. Those three words together invoked a lot of memes. Okay, but this is a real sentence. Okay. A terminally ill 9/11 hero and his first responder wife on Tuesday slammed Democratic mayoral nominee Zoran Mamdani for associating with a vile left-wing influencer Hassan Piker, who once said America deserved the Sept 11th, 2001 terror attacks. I'm calling on him to disavow Hassan Piker and his hateful words. Wow. The 33-year-old New Jersey-born streamer has also called Israelis inbred and said it doesn't matter if rapes happen to women during Hamas's October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. Damn. Should he disavow Hassan? If so, should people make a big deal about it? That's a hard one. I mean, I think he should, because I think Hassan is a disgusting terrorist. That's it. It's a disgusting terrorist. If you were Mamdani, I don't know if you should, though. Do you really want a bunch of people who are never voting for you that are trying to hand-wring you on that? I don't know. The thing is like, I have a very skewed perception of New York. I don't think I have a very accurate perception of New York, because my aunt was Cuban and she was like a New York City police department night patrol in the Bronx for 20 years. I have a very conservatively skewed perspective of New York, and I think it's a lot more progressive than my anecdote would lead me to believe. Like, my aunt loved Giuliani, and she said everybody loved Giuliani for cleaning up New York and everything. I don't know how true that is now. I'm not sure. Maybe they did, though. I don't know. Maybe it's just different. I'm not sure. But the 9/11 shit, man, anybody that was in New York for 9/11, that was not good. Not a good event. Not good. You know, hand-wringing is drying your hands, right? Isn't hand-wringing like kind of like scolding or chastising somebody over something? Like, what is up? What like all this hand-wringing? Like, you're trying to make me feel bad. You're trying to stuff like that. Isn't that what that? Hassan says America deserved 9/11 and his uncle is starting to think the Jews did it. Oh, God.
complete lie. The 9/11 report is a joke.
You have...
Man, can I just say, dude, you don't understand how much psychic damage it causes me when I feel this way. You don't understand how damaging this was, okay? You don't understand the damage that I have incurred. I don't know if I will ever heal from this damage, okay? Like, this, if these are like the official stories, and these are like the conspiracies, from like 2016 to like 2020, you know, I was like, oh, maybe all the Russia stuff is real and all the COVID stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then I course correct because I even fall into the, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. And then reading and research on things and realize like, oh my God, these stories are so airtight. These stories are so rock solid. Dude, I have never been a bigger believer in the official 9/11 story until after I did the research for that Nick Fuentes debate. When I had to watch that 6-hour The New Pearl Harbor 9/11 conspiracy documentary, and I'm like, oh, okay, fuck it. You know, I've always kind of wanted to look into it. Let's see. Because I was kind of the belief, not for any evidence, but like, I bet they shot down that one plane where they say the passengers brought the planes down. I bet they shot it down. And then going through the NIST report and then all the footage and all the documented evidence, and it's like, oh shit. The real story absolutely fucking happened. This is just, there's no shot it was anything else. There's no way without some exceptional story or behind the scenes conspiracy. Yeah. And then same thing with like the COVID stuff and the lab leak shit and everything else. And it's like, fuck me. Have you seen that Tucker versus Mark Cuban clip yet? Yeah, I have, but I have to, there's stuff I have to be careful watching. Like it's hard because I will get banned if I say what I want to say about these people. He's such a disgusting fucking, he's such a low-life worm cancer. The fact that this guy stole so much from this country, being the most disgusting type of conservative fucking piece of shit on Fox News for so long, just to go and become like from ultra rabid neocon to ultra fucking, you know, Moscow dick suck is just unbelievable. I hope he's getting good dick at the Kremlin at least. I hope it's worth it for him. For how fucking disgusting this guy's become. Holy shit. What did I look at this on? Wait, where the fuck was this? Was it on Reddit? Where did I see this? Is it on my subreddit? I thought it was on Twitter. What? Wait, who has this on? The clip I saw was on Twitter? Wait, what? Oh, all the revisions. Rip. Explain the clip. Oh, thank you. Jesus.
Mark, let me ask you a question. What's your take on whether we should be sending money to Ukraine or not? Were you in
I hate this fucking guy. I hate the technocracy. There were no smart people for the technocracy. Just everybody's a fucking retard, dude. That's the actual reality of it all. Everybody's fucking retarded. That's it. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No, Mark Cuban is cool. We like Cuban, I think, for the most part.
Mark, let me ask you a question. What's your take on whether we should be sending money to Ukraine or not? Were you in favor of that?
Man, they need it.
I mean, honestly, I don't have a good answer. You know, I can make an argument both ways, and half my family is Ukrainian from my grandparents. And so, you know, personally, I think we should help, but I don't have a studied answer for you.
Have you seen how much
Yeah, this guy too. God.
money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we?
How much money have you sent to Ukraine? What a stupid fucking what, do you want him to fly the F-35s over there on his own? Why do people think this is a gotcha? Oh, you want single payer healthcare? How much money have you donated to the federal government recently? Oh, you think that we should bring back the Medicaid benefit? Oh, you want to do unemployment insurance? How much do you pay extra on your taxes? How much do you tip the federal government? Like, that's not how that works, you fucking moron. What kind of a stupid fucking question is, oh, you want kids? When was the last time you gave birth to a child? Like, well, fuck me, I guess.
How much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we? You're the one whose family's from Ukraine. Like, why don't you send them $1 billion?
Because I'm trying to fix healthcare.
Why don't you fix their healthcare if you're...
Like, and he even gives a good answer, right? Like, well, I mean, assuming you believe his intentions are, but like, he's investing in the United States, right? He's an American, investing in America, right?
You're like so deep. If you think we need to help, why don't you start?
Well, like, start? Like, everyone's just going to follow suit? It's not individual citizens' jobs to do things that are the job of the country. Like, the response should be, oh, you think illegal immigration is a big deal? Well, why don't you, go post up? Go grab your AR-15, right? A gun you've never touched in your entire fucking life. Why don't you go man one of the black painted walls?
How about you first?
Yeah.
I noticed that's never like even an option for anybody. It's like, we need to help. That's not what charity is. Forcing other people to help is not charity.
Here's the
it's
good
vanity.
news. The good news is all the weapons were on loan lease. We're getting it back. And our dear President Trump has negotiated that we own half the minerals. So he turned this horrible tragedy of a war into a profit center, which is one of his unique gifts. I think we can all agree.
Like, aren't you just saying in more words the military-industrial complex is base? Like, isn't that the excuse you're giving? Like, Trump can literally do anything and these people will worship it. How do you not have... like, how do you... How, is there no shame? I just don't understand how you can give the most contradictory takes of all time. Do you generally like Mark Cuban as a communicator? Yeah, I think so. I think there need to be more wealthy people speaking out in favor of like progressive social policy. I think it's good. I like to point out that when I got wealthier, I got more left-leaning. Mark Cuban obviously tries to do a lot with this healthcare stuff. The Prof G guy is like a 9-figure net worth guy. He talks about his business success. I think it's good to have more visibility like that, rather than the idea being that every socially progressive or left-leaning person is some, wokey college retard or some brokey trying to steal money from the government, They ambushed Mark live on stage with Tucker. They didn't tell him they were bringing him out. Crazy thing to do at your huge event. It's kind of crazy, but it's not crazy when you realize how, God, it's just so gross. These guys are so disgusting. Like, how do you even feel like a man after this? Like, it's just so, like, to be so submissive and psychologically breedable by any strong guy in the room or anybody else that everybody else thinks is a strong guy, that you'll sit here and bend over and take it, begging for it. Watching these guys, wait, am I mixing this guy up with the other dude? Is this Chamath or whatever? Chamath? And then this is the other guy. These guys have a retarded fucking show together that I've suffered through before, right?
Grandparents.
I don't even know what the fuck these guys do. I don't know what the fuck any of these people do. I feel like I listen to these people talk and it's like, you sound like a fucking retard. Like, what? Like, they don't say anything ever. How people can talk so much and say nothing. Oh, God, I hate these people. Okay. What did I tell Anna the last time she was on? I was like, if Ukrainians were brown, people would give a fuck. And now you've still got conservatives swaying the fuck out over the one... and the fact that they call her a Ukrainian woman that was murdered in the United States, like they give a fuck. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't fucking wait for AI to replace all you tech worker motherfuckers. I can't wait for it. I'm gonna start my own tech company just so that I can do job listings asking just for ChatGPT prompters to reply. I'm gonna list 400 listings for my company, full-time positions, $120K a year, and I'll be looking for prompt engineers for every single one. No, I'm sorry, it's gonna be $60K a year because I want to make sure that if you went to school and you got a degree or some bullshit, you're never gonna make your money back on your student loans. I hate all you tech motherfuckers. I want a new audience. We're gonna do makeup reviews from now on. ASMR makeup reviews. Watch the Chamath.
I never knew much about
Scammer.
Chamath Palihapitiya until I saw a bunch of people calling him out on Twitter, or should I say X.
You know that PBD guy is just like a pyramid scheme scammer, right? Like that's all he made his bag on? It's fucking insane.
I started doing more digging, and it wasn't just the Twitter community that was angry with him.
People saying that he really took advantage of investors.
He, by the way, pitched deeply.
Which are worse people, tech workers or influencers? Tech workers, because at least people know influencers are fucking retarded. Like, who's this guy? A YouTuber? Oh, he's probably a retard. Who's this guy? A software developer. Ooh, this guy probably knows a whole bunch of shit. Actually, this guy is so fucking specialized into the ass end of whatever fucking bullshit company this dude works at. This guy works on a computer 24/7 and can't tell you the difference between a fucking CPU and a GPU. This guy's just some fucking retard code monkey, okay, that literally bangs out debugging the same 7 lines of code all fucking day, okay? He's got 20-minute projects that he stretches into 2 weeks deliverables so that his manager gets off his back, and then he jerks off in the bathroom all day at fucking work with his fucking ED cock pointed into the fucking toilet that doesn't work anymore because the guy abuses fucking amphetamines 24/7 so that he can stay awake on Valorant every night, trolling for young girls, pedophile. I hate tech workers. I hate all of you. You ruined my country. I hate all of you. All of you need to go back to India or China or wherever you came from. It's not even you guys. Actually, I don't even know if I hear the Indian or Chinese ones say stupid shit. It's the white ones. We need to have a white tech worker Jenna meme. They need to go away. No, because that Chamath guy is a fucking... All of them need to go. Trump was right. We need to go back to manufacturing. We need to bring back clean coal. We need to get back to the mines. Because you know what? You know what the good thing about the mines were? No cell phone reception. So when you're at work, you can't read stupid shit or tweet stupid shit. That's what we need to do. God damn it.
Unprofitable companies to retail investors as SPACs.
And that, you know what? That's 2 birds with 1 stone. And then we can talk about real issues in the country again. Because you know what? If we get rid of all the fucking tech workers, there's 90% of our trans population at the same time. And I won't have to see any weird femboy shit on my fucking Twitter feed anymore. So, you know what?
Of investors.
He, by the way, pitched deeply unprofitable companies to retail investors as SPACs.
And then what a guy like Chamath would do is he'd get everyone excited, people buy in, the price goes up, then he gets out after he just told you it's like the greatest company to ever own.
If you look at all of the wealth that he's gained going in and all the wealth that shareholders have either gained or lost.
True. Next, and then after that are the finance bros. Sorry, you guys are next. Finance and tech bros. You guys are going to be shipped off to an island. Enough parts are going to be left to build 5 ships, and if you can't figure it out by the 5th iteration and they all crash and burn, then you're going to sit there and die, okay? You have to build a ship with your bare fucking hands, okay?
Going out. I just think there's, in the end, going to be a pretty big imbalance there.
Silicon Valley's biggest fraud, Chamath Palihapitiya. He is quite literally the biggest pump and dumper on the stock market that I've ever seen.
The most notable among all of these is Mark Cuban. So you might recognize that name from a scandal that happened almost a year ago. Cuban was the first person who initially exposed Sam Bankman-Fried with his FTX fraud. The question is, why is Mark Cuban now calling out Chamath Palihapitiya? At first glance, Chamath has everything going for him. Billionaire, former Facebook executive, host of the successful podcast All In, big donator to climate change. On paper, he looks like a benevolent billionaire. So what has he done to gain the attention of Mark Cuban? To get your head around this, you need to understand what a SPAC is.
What? I'm just so wrong about everything. Why would you listen to my prediction on anything? What were all the arguments that I used to make about, oh, well, if you're a CEO, the reason why you get big compensation is because you can destroy an entire company with a single fucking tweet. You could say something, this is why they have huge compensation. When it's time for them to step up and do shit, they do nothing, okay? We should just take their wealth and honestly just set it on fire, okay? There was a meme over the bailouts after the financial collapse, which needed to happen. The bailouts needed to happen. But there is a... something like bad can happen. I'm not going to be able to draw this because I can't draw anything. I don't give a fuck. Here's your lines. I don't know why we always draw this. We draw because I like to see L's. That's why. If there's an investment that delivers this level of return, and there's another investment Let's call this 10%. But let's say there's another investment, okay? And that investment could return 15% or 5%, right? If you want to invest in the 5% one, right, where your risk-adjusted rate of return might be equivalent to the 10%, maybe it's 16 and 6, is a little higher, right? If you want to invest in this and you want to run your business this way, I think you should have every right to do so because, God damn it, this is the United States of America and that's a beautiful thing. However, it's a little bit bullshit if you can do this risk-adjusted rate of return investment that can potentially have a high upside, but then when the downside happens, you go to the government and you say, ooh, we fucked up and the whole economy is going to fuck up if you don't kind of like take care of us here. And it's like, oh, well, that's very interesting because was that part of your calculation for your risk adjustment? That if you got, instead of all of the upside, if you got the downside, that you were just going to come to us, the public, to get money to bail you out? Isn't that like a little bit fucking bullshit? If billionaires want to make the big money and be the big movers, then fine, fucking A, do it. But then when the time comes for you to take a stand to protect what I would hope would be the core fundamental values of America that you built your business on, I would expect you to fucking stand the fuck up and do it. This is why you have all this money, no? It's supposed to be fuck you money for a reason. And then that didn't happen. Now we see Mark. What was Mark? Did you see Mark when he was on TV with Trump? And then Trump was like, I'm going to do it with the 12 inches today. And then Mark started lubing it up right next. He was like, oh, yes, sir. Are you sure you want the 12? I didn't know if you wanted to go with the 12 or the 14 today. I didn't know if you wanted to go with the 12 or the... I didn't know if you want to go with the 12 or the 15 or the 14 today. Are you sure? And Trump's like,
All right, we have it, folks, on camera. The Trump admin just accidentally made up. And you know what numbers are?
This lady for hosting. I want to...
Thank you, Mr. President. Grateful
for you. Incredible.
They're all sitting there, language, and she's still understood. Not as proof. So,
$600 billion through.
Essentially, it doesn't seem.
I don't know where the original clip is. I don't know why Adam fucking Mockler comes up first. You fucking cuck. You piece of shit. I hate this guy. Sorry. Is it this one?
And Tim, how much money will Apple be investing in the United States? Because I know it's a very lot, and it's, you were elsewhere, and now you're really coming home in a big way.
Can I just, any other old person, hey, Tim, how much money are you going to invest in the United States? Because I know that you were somewhere else, and now you're coming home. The fuck does that mean? Invest in the United States? What is he doing? Is he buying trees?
600 billion.
600 billion.
Oh God, and this God, oh my God. And he's right here. Oh shit, you can even see on the, oh my God, you can even see on the bridge of his nose. Holy shit, when Trump was giving him a fucking facial, the first rope must have splashed off here. He got a little bit in his eye. You see it up here? The fucking Trump cum stain.
All right. It's a lot of jobs.
We're very proud to do
it. How much is Google investing?
We are well north of $100 billion. In the next 2 years, it's $250 billion.
It's great. It's great. Great. We're proud of you. Very good. Thank you. A lot of jobs. Yeah, good. What about Microsoft? That's a big number.
Each year, we are close to, in the United States,
This wasn't the right clip. Fuck you. There's one after where Zuckerberg's like whispering. Trump's like, well, I didn't know which number you wanted me to go with. Oh, oh, oh. So fuck, so both. Fuck my capitalist takes, but also fuck the lefty takes, okay? Because the lefties told me that the billionaires at the table were supposed to be running shit, and they're not running shit. They're sitting here like little doggies wagging their tails like fucking retards, okay? I would be okay with the libertarian hyper-reality of, my Apple police force shows up wielding their Facebook Glocks to stop the criminals, and then they lock them in Google jails or whatever. But instead, we just have fucking Trump coin. Trump coin!
is. So you might vaguely remember SPACs from about 2 years ago, where they were extremely popular in the bull market. And there was one person that they were calling the SPAC king.
Chamath has really become like the poster of the SPAC boom.
The so-called SPAC king.
The SPAC king.
The SPAC king.
The SPAC king.
SPAC king.
The SPAC king.
I think that SPACs are very much here to stay. It evens the playing field. It democratizes access to high-growth companies.
SPACs have been around for decades. And in the past, they've had a bad reputation for scamming investors.
It allows retail folks that may not have necessarily been tier 1 hedge funds. Now they can also play.
SPAC executives receive ultra cheap shares for taking companies public that increase their returns. It's a bona fide pump and dump.
I think what's happening in SPACs is really about the
Also, remember, every single time I complain about these people, the biggest retard is me, because I should have scammed you guys with a crypto thing. I could have made a easy 500 milli, okay? Any streamer that didn't scam their audience with crypto is a certified sucker, an actual fucking sucker.
Mantling of the traditional capital market with respect to fundraising.
They have never been a good investment for individuals. They're great for sponsors. They're great for somebody as successful and charismatic as Chamath.
Another example that I've been at the forefront of is in SPACs. If I was zealous about SPACs, you wouldn't have seen the change in the capital markets that we've seen.
SPACs have attracted many dodgy companies over the years. We've seen instances of SPACs acquiring private firms that have been fabricating aspects of their business, leading to large losses for investors later down the road.
What?
A SPAC stands for Special Purpose Acquisition Company, also known as a blank check company. I know it sounds sketchy already. What happens is a sponsor raises money for investors to put into this blank check company. Once the money is raised, the sponsor must use it to acquire a target company that he believes has a lot of potential. When the business has been approved, the SPAC and the target business combine into a publicly traded company. It's a bit of an odd process, but it's meant to be a way for companies to go public while bypassing the regulatory hoops and hazards of the traditional IPO process. The big problem though is investors have to put so much trust into the sponsor of the SPAC. You literally have no idea where your money is going, so you put your complete faith into the sponsor to use your money wisely and acquire a business that will perform well in the future. This is where Chamath comes into play. He was the sponsor for a lot of large SPACs, and a lot of investors trusted him with their money.
Recently, he's been very active in the realm of SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies.
Companies should be going public sooner.
You know, he sponsored SPACs that merged with startups like Virgin Galactic, Open Doors, Clover Health, to help make him a billionaire.
2 years ago, Chamath had a good reputation both as an investor and businessman. He'd worked as a senior executive at Facebook. In 2010, he turned a $25 million Golden State Warriors investment into $520 million, invested early into Amazon, Tesla, Slack, and many more high-growth companies. He would leverage this reputation and use it to sell SPACs that he was sponsoring.
I think PE ratios should be enforced, but with capital punishment. If the PE ratio of your company gets too high, then everybody that spends money for too much on the stock, right to the head, okay? I feel like we live in a really weird, this is just a super vibe-based take, I don't know the end of it, but I feel like our capital markets right now are just so in outer space. Just, like, the idea of, like, some 80-year-old, you know, Doyle Brunson rolling up and he's like, oh, I'm here to invest today. And they're like, oh, you're here to invest. Well, what are you looking for, sir? I'm looking for a company that has high profit, a lot of staying power. Ooh, profit? We don't really use that word here, sir. We're looking for revenue. And it's like, revenue? No, Sonny. Revenues, that's just money you make, but that might not be profit. You might have more expenses. And, oh, no, sir. We don't care about expenses anymore. We actually just care about revenue. We don't give a fuck if they lose money or not. What? Oh, yeah, revenue, customer acquisition, and chance of them getting acquired by some big-ass company down the line, and maybe future implications of some hypothetical technology that might be able to merge with some other hypothetical technology in the future. Where does that revenue come from? How do these guys make money? Well, it's all business to business with other companies who are all trying to do the same. Basically, the entire market is trying to out-speculate fuck the rest of the market on a whole bunch of hypothetical models where none of these motherfuckers, I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking retarded. It just seems what are the two, like, what is this? Is this really the most valuable company in the world right now? Like, is it really? I know on paper it is, right? I think NVIDIA is the highest market cap, but is it really? Like, is it actually? Or do we all just think it is? Is it actually, though? I don't know.
A few years ago, he went on this kind of weird marketing campaign where he would appear on CNBC and he would only pitch to investors his SPACs.
Chamath Palihapitiya announcing here on halftime his latest special acquisition company.
We are really excited after months of diligence and work to announce a merger between IPOC and Clover Health. A merger between Social Capital Heads via or IPOA. The news is that IPOB is merging with Open Door. This is a market that is growing by $1 billion every single week. I actually think this is one of the safest and most interesting investments that I've ever made. I have never had visibility to a market like this with this kind of defined, measurable growth. I think this is one of the most interesting, value-laden investments that I've seen in a long time. And it's a merger that really creates an opportunity for investors. I really believe in this business. This to me feels like Bitcoin in 2012, Amazon in 15, Tesla in 16, Virgin last year.
It's now been 2 to 3 years since he offered those SPACs. Let's see how they have performed. Was Chamath the right person for people to trust with their money? Because in hindsight, a lot of retail investors now wish that they never stumbled upon the words Chamath or SPAC or investment opportunity. Chamath took 4 major SPACs public, which all of them he had big projections for. The first was Virgin Galactic, which originally came under the ticker symbol IPOA, Open Door Technologies IPOB, Clover Health IPOC, and SoFi Technologies IPOE. What happened with these 4 SPACs? Because the way Chamath was promoting them, it was almost as if they were the FANG stocks of the future. October 2020, Chamath announces on CNBC that he is taking a company public through a SPAC called Clover Health. At the time of the SPAC, Clover was a small insurance company with a pretty traditional business behind it, but they wanted to turn things around because they had this big vision. They would transform healthcare through their new software called Clover Assistant, which they believed would make the company very valuable. And to start with, the stock actually does very well as Chamath begins his promotion tour of it.
We are really excited after months of diligence and work to announce a merger between IPOC and Clover Health.
I also don't understand how I don't know how you regulate markets like this anymore either. I don't even know how much this impacts anything. Like the sentence I want to say is the price of a stock should reflect its fundamental value of the company, but that's not strictly speaking true. It's supposed to reflect what the fundamental value is now and what the fundamental value will be in the future, but that's not really true. It's supposed to be what people think the value of the stock, the fundamental value will be in the future, but that's not really true. It's supposed to be what people will think, other people will think the fundamental value is, or what people are trading off of in the future. So when you're buying a stock, you truly are just buying and selling based on what you think other people will buy and sell in the future, and hopefully that's at least correlated with other good things, right? Like actual growth of the company, revenue, profits, stuff like that. This whole like announcing stuff like this, I feel like it is cancer, because like at some point, how can you tell if market movements are happening as a result of like people thinking this is a good spot to put their money versus like some guy is making an announcement, so people are putting their money there? It's like a slightly inflated pump and dump that everybody is jumping onto because they're not sure if everybody else is going to jump onto it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking, I don't know.
To take Clover Health public. I have never had visibility to a market like this with this kind of defined, measurable growth. This was one of the most straightforward investments I've ever made. It's a business that I think will become extremely valuable and be what I think is going to be our next 10x and 10-year investment.
But then it starts to come out that this stock is not as groundbreaking as Chamath is making it out to be. On the 4th of February 2021, a report written by Hindenburg Research accuses Chamath of luring investors into a broken business and not disclosing that the Department of Justice is...
Oh, you know what fixes this, by the way? The idea that I had that's horrible and Dan hated and everybody hates it. You know what fixes this? No more acquisitions. Companies cannot buy companies. If you start a company, then that's the fucking company. You can't go buy other companies. When you have a company, that's your company. If another company is going bankrupt and you want to buy that company's assets, then buy that company's assets. Go for it. Google's going bankrupt. You want to buy all the office desks and chairs and maybe some other intellectual property? Fine, fucking go for it. But no more buying companies, okay? This like reverse merger shit to get yourself publicly listed without going through the ordinary hoops is fucking retarded. There are reasons why these hurdles exist. This reverse merger acquisition bullshit or whatever is stupid.
Report written by Hindenburg Research accuses Chamath of luring investors into a broken business and not disclosing that the Department of Justice is actively investigating Clover of deceptive business practices. It goes on to detail that...
Does that logic apply to the company buying itself, so stock buybacks? No. What? I'm saying that it feels like too many companies today, the goal is you start the company and the goal of the company is to just sell to another company. Like that's it. Like we're in some fucking food tree of... it's like the CapEx food tree. Like, what can I invest in that is eventually going to get bought by some other thing that other people... I don't know.
Not disclosing that the Department of Justice is actively investigating Clover of deceptive business practices. It goes on to detail that the company is riddled with an unethical past and is involved with some pretty sketchy business behavior. And Clover, they quickly respond to this. They immediately dismiss the report saying, Chamath and Clover were fully aware of the DOJ inquiry, but we concluded that the fact of DOJ's request for information was not material and was not required to be specifically disclosed in our SEC filings. So let me make this clear. This government investigation of your company is not material, yet Clover derives almost all of its revenue from Medicare, a government payer. If that's not material, then what is material?
They're saying here that their underwriters understood it, that the lawyers understood it, and that they deemed that it was not quote unquote material to disclose.
Smells crappy with everything going on, and so the poor retail people that might have been involved in buying the SPAC that they didn't need to know, Andrew. I mean, and Chamath, Mr. Retail proponent, I'm a billionaire, but I love you and I'm one of you. It just reeks.
February the 6th, 2021, Chamath also issued...
How often does it happen? That's like the meta now, no? Hasn't that been the meta for the past like 2 decades? Your dream when you make a startup is never to have a successful business. Your dream is to sell to fucking Google or Amazon.
His own response to the Hindenburg article, and he called it a cheap part of streaming into the ether. I will let Clover's long-term performance speak for themselves going forward. Well, it's been 2 years since then, so let's see how Clover's long-term performance has actually gone. From that date, Clover is down 91% from a share price of $13 to just over $1. To put that into perspective, if you were a retail investor who put your savings of $100,000 into Clover, you would now be left with $10,000. To get back to your original amount, the stock would have to increase 900% in price. Do you ever wonder why Warren Buffett's #1 rule to investing is don't lose money? Because it's very hard to get your money back. With his SPACs, Chamath would issue these one-pager Twitter reports on his investment thesis on the particular SPAC that he was selling. He said, with regards to Clover, that he expected by 2023, Clover's total members would reach 589,000, the enterprise value would be 3.7 billion, and that's
by 2023, we will have overall profitability.
Well, at the end of 2022, we can see Clover had 88,000 members, and today's enterprise value is 300 million, so basically a tenth of the size of his original estimates. Also, the company is losing $300 million a year and has not had one profitable quarter yet. It just shows you should be very careful when people make these outlandish, bullish estimates, and especially when their agenda is to sell you a stock. While issuing these SPACs, Chamath was selling himself as the professional investor. At the October 2020 investor presentation, he said, Clover has been diligenced and validated not just by me and my team at Social Capital, but by some of the most respected blue chip technology investors in the world.
He's there to potentially be the guy who does due diligence on this.
In fact, I felt so confident after doing the diligence.
I mean, that wasn't my goal with my company. Is it with yours? No. But we're built different. That's why we're DGGers.
After doing the diligence.
So either he had done very deep research and just somehow missed that Clover was under investigation for deceptive business practices, misleading marketing, and
I highly recommend Money Stuff by Matt Levine for financial stuff. Does he write for Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal, or did he have a blog? I used to read financial stuff by him, if I'm thinking of the right guy. He was a cool dude. Bloomberg, I think.
Blew up other issues, or he knew about these, but for some reason decided not to mention them. Charlie Munger always says, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. It turns out that there was a very strong incentive for Chamath to take Clover Health public as one of his SPACs. In the prospectus behind the pages and pages of writing, you can see that his firm, Social Capital, invested $25,000 in exchange for 20.5 million founders' shares for promoting Clover. Those shares at the time were valued at almost $290 million. If you told most people that they could invest just $25,000, do some promotion, and then get $290 million, they would probably be willing to go to a lot of lengths to get this. But Chamath was already rich, yet still sold his reputation and these failing SPACs to retail investors for a very handsome profit. But remember, Chamath had 3 more SPACs that he issued to the public. How did these go? It turns out that these other 3 SPACs were... In September 2020, Chamath found a merger for his SPAC, IPOB, a stock which he had grandiose expectations for.
IPOB is merging with Opendoor, and Opendoor will be going public. And it's a merger that really creates an opportunity for investors. And I really believe in this business. This to me feels like Bitcoin in 2012, Amazon in 15, Tesla in 16, Virgin last year. This is an enormous bet for me. And I think that Opendoor is going to build a huge, huge business.
Wow.
The SPAC began trading on the NASDAQ around mid-December 2020 at a price of around $30. Today, it's $3.20, down 89%. I'm not Elon Musk, but I'm not sure this is the next Tesla. IPO A was Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic may have taken people to space, but it took its investors in a different direction.
I actually think this is one of the safest and most interesting investments that I've ever made. In fact, I felt so confident after doing the diligence that I decided to invest an additional $100 million of my own money. It's a kind of a business that's very rare and unique, very difficult to build, not a lot of competition. So I don't think it's a moonshot at all. In fact, I think this is one of the most interesting, value-laden investments that I've seen in a long time. And then the team that George has built has been able to build something that is largely now de-risked.
And we think that we're going to have a tremendously profitable business within a couple of years.
Today, the price is $2 a share, but Chamath cashed out of the company when it was $25. So again, Chamath walked away with a very healthy profit.
The venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya, head of the SPAC that took Virgin Galactic public, who, by the way, was like, hey,
When you say finance is not the same as economics, what do you mean by that? I'm done, so explain it to me. I feel like economics is like this, is like a broad study of how to, well, no, it doesn't have to be broad. It could be micro too. But it's just like the study of like what, like money and resources kind of. And finance is like more specifically related to, I don't know, like how do you, like running businesses or raising money for a thing or like capital investment. Like it's much more specified. Like it wouldn't even be like micro econ. It would just be a different, much more specialized thing. And one doesn't give you like insight into the other necessarily.
Hey, Scott. I mean, this is a great company. You gotta get on this stuff. He made $310 million from selling shares of the company. And this is a company he's not promoting about how great it is. It's the greatest thing ever.
This is one of many examples which has left a lot of people calling him a pump and dump merchant.
It's a bona fide pump and dump, right? You get someone to go out here and talk about how great this company is without having to show the same kind of transparency you'd have to if it was, a publicly traded company.
A pump and dump is when a trader hypes up a particular asset class that he is invested in order to get others to invest in that asset as well. This causes the price to increase. The trader then sells when the price is high when others are buying, making a nice profit, and he leaves the other investors to take a loss. It's a very popular tactic in the crypto space where many coins don't have real value, so they have to pump and dump it, but it's not a foreign strategy in the stock market either.
As you all know, I'm a fan of the pump. Always guys respect the pump. But what I'm not a fan of is a pump and dump.
The last SPAC of Chamath's was SoFi, IPOE. Did at least this one perform well? Okay, so SoFi became public through a SPAC June the 1st, 2021. Okay, SoFi stock, June 2021. Since then, it is down 60%. So that's 4 SPACs in total. One's down 82%, another 89%, Clover 91%, and the last minus 60%. So that's 4 SPAC June the 1st, 2021. Okay, SoFi stock, June 2021. Since then, it is down 60%. So that's 4 SPACs in total. One's down 82%, another 89%, Clover 91%, and the last minus 60%. These are the SPACs from the man who's already done the due diligence and is on the side of retail investors. It's quite ironic.
If you say something good about a company and you have a position in that company, you should be barred from selling until 2 years past your last positive statement. That should be the requirement as well.
Like when the exact guy helping retail investors loses them millions and millions of dollars and at the same time makes money from it. And rightly so, this has left many retail investors angry at Chamath, to such an extent that Chamath would address them on Twitter. Finally, a well-deserved apology for all of those who lost money, right?
No.
Chamath responded by saying he didn't inflict any losses, but you literally went on Twitter and TV to sell to investors SPACs, which all of them lost money. He then said to the victims to stop being a victim, the world will pass you by. Yeah, I made hundreds of millions of dollars and you lost money, but you need to stop being a victim for losing money.
It's just money. It's made up.
He finished it off with this. I'm in the arena trying stuff. Some will work, some won't, but always learning. You're anonymous and afraid of your own shadow. Enjoy the sidelines. Yeah, you guys are all just terrible people sitting on the sidelines. I'm in the arena actually doing something. What are you doing? Selling SPACs that lose 90% of their value so that I can make millions in promotion fees. Call me crazy, but I think it's better to sit on the sidelines compared to working hard to lose retail investors millions of dollars.
Here, I just wanted to take an actual direct line of attack on people who are constantly blaming others for everything. And if you aren't trying and iterating, you're a fucking loser. Go out and try something.
Yes, Chamath, we all know that there's a lot of losers on Twitter who just tweet all day and do nothing. But what about the people that work hard all day with their 9-to-5 job, who lost their savings because they trusted you? You can't just place them all in a basket of Twitter losers. Even if they are just losers, why should you get to scam?
I have the same feeling. This is how like the conservative inbred redneck retards that fuck their siblings and cousins think when they think of like computers. They're like, that's not real jobs. You're not even doing real work. That's how I feel about people like Chamath. What do you do? What's your value? What's my value? What are you talking about? I connect small cap companies to large cap ones, and through a complicated reverse merger process, allow them to get listed on public stock exchange for huge fees while pumping the stock publicly so that people buy into it. And yeah, the real answer is if you don't know how to justify whatever you do in finance, what you're supposed to just say is, I provide additional liquidity for the market. This is probably true. But I mean, like, diarrhea provides additional liquidity to your shit, so I mean, I don't know if that matters or not.
Lost their savings because they trusted you. You can't just place them all in a basket of Twitter losers. Even if they are just losers, why should you get to scam them?
Similarly here on the deals that I do, I take a 20% here. And I think that I can find targets and find opportunities that will make that more than reasonable in the final analysis.
And over 25% of the SPACs that were introduced in 2021, they're now trading below $2.
Open Door, SoFi, Virgin Galactic, and Clover, they have all lost 60% or more of their market value.
It's written that Chamath made roughly $750 million across all of his SPACs. Ironically, the SPACs did very well, but not for the investors putting money in, but for the sponsor of the SPAC. And I think going forward, anyone...
Why do you and other Dems impulsively downplay how fucked the repeat career criminal problem we have in this country is? Y'all don't have a leg to stand on critiquing Trump's fucked crypto while ignore much more tangible crimes like the recent murder. Honestly, just because I really love watching white people die and then seeing black people killed, it's just really epic and funny and based. I mean, what do you mean? What the fuck? Sorry, I can't stop all crime? What do you...
Who hears the word SPAC or Chamath or Palihapitiya are going to be a lot more cautious before buying the next thing that he decides.
Most of these scams and pump and dump scheme companies only exist because of retail investors. Do you really think so? Do you think that the majority of the SPAC shit was funded by retailers? That's another thing that needs to happen. You should have to have a fucking Series 5 or what the fuck is it in order to buy or sell a stock directly. Otherwise, put the mutual fund in the bag. No more direct buys themselves. You have to be licensed for it, okay? Ordinary human beings should not have access to the fucking stock market like that. I woke up at 4 o'clock today, okay? I'm grumpy. That's all right. We're going to stay awake. We're going to stream for 20 hours. At Destiny, can we not provide cashless bail or any bail in an on-video murder case? What, you'd have to show that bail is bad. Bail, in general, is probably a better thing than not. It's up to the judge to allow bail, too. If you have an issue with somebody granted bail, then take it up with the judge, I guess. Yeah, what even was that guy's criminal record? That guy was schizophrenic. His previous conviction was years prior, and he was making a prank 911 call from his hospital bed when he was contained for mental illness. Is that true? I don't believe you. Call in 10 minutes. Thank you. I do. That libtarded judge makes us look as retarded as MAGA. How do you know? How do you know it was a libtarded judge? Why do you? I feel like when people look at bail, I feel like you look at bail as like a declaration on how morally virtuous the person is, or whether the person is innocent or guilty. I think bail is just supposed to be, do we anticipate the person fleeing the state or not showing up to his future court date? No. In that instance, like, bail is probably good for a couple reasons. One is if you don't have the ability to post bail, you're basically destroying anybody's life, I would imagine, who's arrested, because now you have to, sit in jail or prison for months until your actual trial? Number one. Number two, you're wasting state resources because now we have to pay to house them and pay to feed them and the guards and all that other bullshit. I don't know why people who don't like bail just think that, you just think that bail is a get out of jail free card that judges give to people that they like a lot. I don't know, it's fucking retarded. Are you ready for war with Brazil over the Bolsonaro case? No. Why? Is that happening soon? Brazil and Venezuela?
Out the way. Where's Giga Chad at? Where's Giga Chad? Look at him. What it do? Where you at? Where is he? Yo, where is he? That's him right here. Come here. That's my boy. Do the face. Do the face. Oh, no. Giga Chad. Everybody step back. I put him down. Wait, do it again. Come in. Everybody. Giga Chad.
Is he the actual Giga Chad guy?
Hey,
oh
look.
My God.
Hey, baby bad. When I'm chopping this money in this mag, I've been giving you money, my tripping, that ticket down niggas, we run for the flags like chippers. I'm a nigga rather than niggas, I'm getting like diggers. You be passing my chest to rest, I'm giving this money, I'm giving a flicker like Daryl. You sell me.
Uh-oh.
I need these people to call in. Come own me. Come call in and own my ass. Everybody, come on. Let's go. That's what I need. And also, yeah, I'm afraid I might have to get back on these social media accounts. And I'm not, fuck. And it sucks because
you're gonna have to what?
Get back on these social media sites.
Uh-oh.
The battlegrounds.
You think posting more is gonna help?
Well, not like more just so like compilations and explanations and stuff.
TikTok is our curated.
Not like shit posting.
Right.
TikTok is not heavily curated. Yeah.
I don't think the shit posting is very helpful.
You see a crazy comment and you pin the comment and record yourself actually talking about it. That's the kind of stuff that people will watch.
Yeah, people.
One of the most consistent arguments against building new housing is that developers will just hold it vacant for reasons, but Berkeley's data has just completely debunked it. Did we ever need more data on that? This is the dumbest argument in the world. Claiming that homeowners buy houses and sit on them and not rent them out is like saying, I'm going to make a ton of money buying taxis and just leaving them in my parking lot. Why would you ever? This is like so obviously fucking retarded. But a new database of vacant units in Berkeley, which offers the most extensive accounting data of the city's empty housing, doesn't back up the theory. Instead, the data shared by Berkeley's Rent Stabilization Board shows that the city did not identify a single unit in any of the larger new apartment complexes vacant for at least 6 months last year. Okay. Where does this come from? Because people think that if you buy property, property always goes up. And people think that going up is one way and going down is another way. And they don't realize that you can go up more or up less. People buy units so that they can rent them out. The cash flow that's associated with property is a huge part of making money on it. Not just the appreciation in value. If there is even a long-term appreciation in value, depending on what you're talking about, the cash flow is essential to that. But people, I don't know, just like, well, it's this meme. People unironically think that this is reality. I own 3 apartments and I purposely keep them empty. I'm losing around $150K a year in potential rent on purpose because I'm ontologically evil. Buying my 4th apartment this week. Based.
Just do TikTok. Yeah, people just do TikToks explaining yourself. I'll try. I think I gotta try. These TikTokers are fucking mad, dude. You know what? I was wrong the whole time. I think it's a can I even say this? I think it's a shame. I think I can say this. Triller should have won. Triller should have won the war.
Trailers?
I think I can say this. Triller should have won. Triller should have won the war. Triller should have won. Triller should have won the war. Triller should have won. Triller should have.
Is this a meme that I just don't know about? Triller was a TikTok competitor. Oh, okay.
Spider-Man. Mega Man. Maximum diaper.
They found around 50 units empty in Berkeley and find the owners, mostly owned by 3 families. Not huge, but not zero. I feel like I remember reading a thing a long time ago. I was going to try to find this, where they applied like a vacancy tax in Vancouver in order to punish people who had like vacant units or whatever. And it ended up, it like changed the amount of vacant units by like 127 by the end of the year across like the entire city. It was like basically a non-factor. But people just have this idea that people buy property and hold it and don't do anything with it when it's like, what? It's free money. It's literally free money. Why would you buy property and not rent it out? Like, you're probably losing money on your investment compared to other investment opportunities at that point.
This right. The other question nobody seems to have asked. One more question is nobody seems to have asked. Nobody seems to have asked. This outboard boat was 2,700 miles. How do we know it was coming to the U.S.? So they may be selling drugs in Trinidad.
We are
job
the in-destination point.
2,700 miles. How the fuck do you even know there's something out in the ocean at that range? Jesus.
For whatever percentage of drugs coming out of Central and South America.
Maybe. You don't think anybody in the Caribbean's using drugs? What if they're selling the drugs in Trinidad? Are we now the police for Trinidad?
Well, they always say,
are we going to blow up every boat? It's just insane. You can't blow up every ship.
What I want to say, Senator,
that you
is
think
I always
might have
get this,
drugs on.
I always get this right.
Okay. I don't know how long my phone call is going to take, but I'm hoping less than 10 minutes. Who is this guy? Popular racehorse. She was known for losing 113 races in a row. Like losing like second place or worse, or like last place. Watch the Apple recap. The new iPhones are sick. Oh shit. Wait, give me... Let's steal some content from this guy. Is this a good one?
Wait, that's a separate...
Okay. I'll be back.
Topic I want to talk about. The Google antitrust stuff. I kind of briefly covered it, but I want to go deeper because this is like kind of a big deal. The big G. They were ruled a monopoly. Checkbox. Monopoly. The DOJ, same guy that got caught in the, not the same guy, but the same team that got caught in that honeypot case, sued them for being a monopoly, illegally using market power to discourage competition, squelch competitors and maintain dominant market share. Ruled and confirmed. Then they had a long wait before deciding what the sentence would be. It turns out the sentence was nothing. Kind of made me angry. Not nothing, but it was a very, very light slap on the wrist. I'm going to give a slight caveat here. There's a part 2 to this story that's very interesting. Okay, so part 1 was they basically said this. You can't buy these 10-year deals with Apple to make Google search the default thing on Apple iPhones. You can only buy 1-year deals, but you can do it every year. Now, that's a very small thing, but it does allow somebody else to come in eventually, maybe if they had a better offer. They also said Google has to share search data with its competitors. Again, pretty small. But they had a decent argument, and I want to make that clear, which is that when they ruled they were a monopoly, there was no AI. Okay? AI was not a thing. And now that AI is a thing, basically one of the main reasons they proved it was a monopoly was that everybody was afraid to even fund a search competitor. Nobody in Silicon Valley was putting any money towards a competitor to Google. But now that there's the AI boom, that's happening all the time. time. There is a ton of startups that are trying to make some sort of search competitor with AI that compete with Google. And so now they're like, okay, we don't want to go too hard on the punishment because this could be like a Blockbuster Netflix situation. The idea is that like right at the end of Blockbuster's life, you start regulating movie rentals. And it's like, that's already it's a possibility. The main thing that we thought was going to happen was Chrome was going to get forced to be sold. That didn't happen. And when that didn't happen, and when this light thing came through, Google stock spiked. And that's all I said the first time. But there's follow-ups. There's the European stuff, and then there's also what this means in America. Because I didn't think about that the first time. So now that Google stock is spiking, I thought, okay, good for them. No, like, not good for them, but like Google investors are just happy that they're not gonna lose Chrome. But actually, it's more than that. What Google is now realizing is they can go whole hog on their AI efforts. And in fact, it makes a lot of sense to me. People, myself included, have been like, Google's been surprisingly, I don't know, slow or quiet on their Gemini stuff. Like they haven't like included it as a bigger part of maybe their phones or like part of Gmail. They've been kind of slow on it. What they're actually gonna do is put the pedal to the metal. They haven't done any marketing. They've been literally not spending on marketing. They've been doing a lot less than they could have to try and push their stuff because they've been afraid of this lawsuit. And now that it's over, I expect Google is gonna really, really do much more to try and get a lead over OpenAI. And so I expect to see a lot more push from Google with regards to AI. I think that I didn't recognize that. I didn't think about what they were holding back on. So that's one part. I'm not an investor in Google in real life, but I am an investor in Google in the stock game. So I've been following it, and I would be optimistic on their ability to become a bigger name in AI now that they have literally nothing stopping them. But the second thing that happened, and this is like more funny, is that at the exact same time as this monopoly suit, there was another monopoly suit in Europe, which did rule that Google was a monopoly in ad tech, in advertising, and they did not have a small punishment. The EU did a massive, massive multi-billion-dollar fine. This is 5 hours ago. A 3.45 billion EU antitrust fine. Now, again, this is a massive fine, but for Google, this is like, I don't know, 2 weeks profit. It could also be considered a slap on the wrist, but it's still a massive fine. It's like a very, very big fine. And what's funny is the response, not only is our DOJ not following through on any antitrust action with Google, but Trump himself is so mad that Europe did this that he is threatening tariffs on the EU. Because they fined Google. He's saying they have to undo their fine of Google, even though America also agrees it's a monopoly. Like, America has officially ruled this is a monopoly. They have a lighter punishment. Europe's punishment is harsher, and Trump said, we're gonna do retaliatory tariffs on your continent if you find this company, which is crazy. We cannot let this happen to brilliant and unprecedented American ingenuity. Although I like this quote, at this stage, it appears the only way for Google to end its conflict of interest effectively is with a structural remedy, such as selling some part of its ad tech business, which I agree. Breaking up their ad tech business, having it spun off something else would be great. They have a total dominance of advertising on the internet, split with Meta. Same thing should happen to Meta. Listen, right now, if you are if you're a small business in America, you pretty much have to promote on Google or Facebook. I will say TikTok is kind of breaking this, but TikTok's share of the market is still really small. And so it's a duopoly between Meta and Google, and they have like something combined, like 90% of all advertising share on the internet, and you have to pay them this tax. Like everyone has to do it. It should be broken up. You should have more options. They would split off YouTube. That would be a big third advertising. Yeah, I mean, splitting off YouTube would be massive. And I think a stronger FTC or DOJ in the earlier, like when they broke up AT&T back in the day, that is the level of DOJ you'd need to break that up, because YouTube breaking off from Google would be the biggest antitrust thing we've ever done in my lifetime. It would be so massive. What percent is Twitter ads? 0. It would be negligible, round down to nothing. And I'm not even being facetious. It literally would be 0. It would be nothing. It would be such a small amount of ad spend. And I know that from literally working at a company that had ad spend. Like if we had a $500K budget for ads for, let's say, NVIDIA, it would be so negligible to Twitter. And that was back when Twitter was more advertiser friendly. It doesn't work. Have you ever clicked one? Nobody clicks. They do nothing. I mean, they're nothing. They have no targeting. They have really bad like follow-up data. They have really bad tracking. It's Google and Meta. It's all the way through because they will give you everything. They'll give you all the tracking, all the data. You can target it to like, I want to target 28-year-olds in Oregon who like Doritos or what. You can do anything. You just can't do that with Twitter. Twitter is a terrible ad platform, and now it's like you're putting your shit next to like the worst stuff on the internet. Yeah, and they have the lowest click-through rate. We tried a bunch of tests, and I'm kind of biased, especially back then, but even now, I'm biased towards Twitter because I still use it. I hate that I use it, but it's like one of the only places you can get like up-to-date news from financial people. Like they don't like there's financial Twitter's okay. So I still use it. So when I was working there, like I would be like, all right, well, let's put some part of the budget towards Twitter, and it just never paid off. It never worked. It had the by far lowest click-through, the most bots, the most spam clicks, the most ad fraud, what about Twitch ads? Can we talk about that? Twitch just reported a viewership free fall, the lowest viewership in 5 years amid viewbot crackdown. Now, obviously all my chat here are bots, so I'm still safe, but the numbers are bad. I mean, look, you can see it on the right here. Twitch got the best news in the world when the guy ate that bat. Whatever kicked off COVID was the best news in the world for Twitch and Twitch streamers. And the website got a massive increase. But then ever since then, it's been declining. And now the free fall is pretty evident. People are saying it's because they cracked down on viewbots, which could be part of it. Although other people are saying that they tried cracking down on viewbots and then got rid of that after a day because they're too scared. Because what I want to say as someone who worked at Twitch is that there's a nice chain of command here. There is somebody let's say like you're a executive at Nike. All you know is that your kids have been talking about this Twitch thing. This is what the gamers are into. This is what kids love video games now, and they are like Twitch. That's all you know. You don't watch, you don't know shit. You don't care. You don't know the difference between Overwatch and League of Legends, and none of it matters to you. You just know that gaming is a thing. So you tell marketing team, go get me some Twitch. Put Twitch in our mix, okay? Add the Twitch. That's what the kids are watching right now. So the marketing team has an incentive to show you a good Twitch campaign. That's what you asked for. So they go to Twitch and they give Twitch money, and they're having Twitch has an incentive to give them what they asked for. And then Twitch has a bunch of fake viewers watching an ad for Nike. Twitch says we have millions of viewers every day, and we got 300,000 of them to watch it or whatever. Even if this team is more in touch and is like, well, I heard about viewbots. I heard about how can we know it's being spent reliably? They want to lie because they want to keep their jobs with this guy. And this guy is not in tune enough to know about all the news about this. The problem is there's a incentive misalignment. Twitch knows that some of the numbers are fake, but if they get rid of it, then their numbers look bad to this team. And that can't be had because then they'll take their money elsewhere. And eventually, over a long enough time, if people complain about the low click-through rates, Twitch will stop getting money. But in the short term, so much of the money that comes into Twitch is based on these big, large viewership numbers. And that's what this guy knows about. He's like, oh, I heard about Kai Cenat from my kids. I heard about, we need to get on Twitch. So he tells his team, the team asks Twitch to get them a certain number. Twitch has the number because of the fake numbers, and everybody benefits from it being fake. The only person that actually loses are like Nike shareholders. Because their money's being wasted on ads that are being seen by bots. But nobody knows about that for a while. It takes a while. And this is happening to all the companies advertising on Twitch, is they're all collectively getting scammed. Now, eventually, they'll wake up. Eventually, like what happened with Twitter, people realize I don't want my ads to be on a platform where it's mostly bot or a lot of bots. Because a lot of my ad money's wasted. It's not being seen by human beings. And in the short term, I think Twitch is not really cracking down on view bots as much as they could because they're scared of this exact thing happening, because this looks really bad for Twitch. If the viewership is going down, it looks like they're a dying platform, which they might be. I feel like people who were a certain age when COVID happened got into Twitch. People who are way younger than that, a lot of them are just going to YouTube. They're just starting on YouTube. I feel like Twitch is not maintaining, or TikTok. Yeah, or TikTok. Yeah, TikTok's a better example, actually. TikTok on IG Live. I think there's a viewership problem with Twitch. And I think that's the reason they don't crack down on as much as they pretend they do. Here is an example. This is Zach Bussey, Flirt, who pulled the numbers and found that there was 4 days where they cracked down on viewbotting, and the viewership was down so much that it mysteriously seemed to be rolled back on the 5th day. The gap between this green line and the dark green line is like, this is the previous week and the next week, okay? So they cracked down on it and there was this massive gap. There's a huge viewership drop and then it went back. And so it just feels like Twitch knows they have to lie about the numbers. If they don't lie about the numbers, then they lose advertisers. It's also possible this. I want to say it's also possible this. There's a cat and mouse game. It's possible the ViewBots found a workaround. Totally possible. It could be the case that Twitch really does care about it. But in my experience, here, I'll give you an example. When I worked there, it was an open secret that if you put something on the front page of Twitch, you know that little carousel? Right here in this first slot on the carousel, it would add a lot of fake viewers to the stream. So whenever like Cheez-It or something paid for a Twitch stream, my first job was handling the front page. And the sales team would come to me and be like, you have to put this front slot of the carousel for these 3 hours. So I would have to go in the back end and make sure that this was Cheez-It so that their dead chat stream would have an extra 15,000, 20,000 viewers. And I think the people at Cheez-It knew that obviously there wasn't actually any people watching, but they just lied to their bosses about it. They go, hey, look, we had a great stream, we had 20,000 viewers. Their boss didn't watch the stream, they didn't see the empty chat. It's just kind of like a numberflation. It's a chain of people lying to their bosses, or at least like looking the other way. You know, it's a chain of people looking the other way, even if they're like, wait a minute, why does our stream have 20,000 viewers and nobody's in chat? And it's like, if I bring that up, I don't get to report that we had a great stream to my boss, and my boss doesn't get to report to his boss. That is my experience with Twitch numbers, and it feels like they are kind of like dipping. Ludwig, and I think I trust Ludwig on this stuff. He's pretty in tune. He's like, yeah, I think they're gonna have a good month. Like, this is gonna be a good viewership month for Twitch because of all the people coming in. It's probably true. Maybe I don't know. We got to talk about the Epstein stuff, okay? That's the first and foremost. There's 3 big things going on with regards to releasing the Epstein list and trying to get it out. There's 3 things going on. So the first thing over here is that some of the Epstein victims are literally camping outside of Congress and demanding the list gets released, or they're going to publicly announce it themselves. They're having a press conference.
In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not.
It's interesting because I heard there was nobody on the list but him. I heard he was the only sole perpetrator of all these crimes and no one else was involved, and there's no point in asking about it and stop looking into it because it was just Jeffrey Epstein, a one-man band.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know.
They are threatening that if there's no action, because there's been listen, we talked about this a while ago. This is the issue that doesn't seem to go away. Even if it disappears for a week or two, it seems to keep coming back. There's a just simmering anger from both sides of the aisle, regular people on both sides of the aisle about this. They are threatening if no action is taken, because there's this constant stalling and obfuscating and no progress on any new data from the list, then they're going to release it themselves. That is issue number one happening without Epstein list. It's the victims doing a public press conference. Number two is Republican Congressman Thomas Massie. Now, listen, there's a number of things that I would disagree with Thomas Massie on. Probably the main ones are around guns. He's kind of insane about guns. Have you seen his Christmas card? I don't want to throw him under the bus here because I'm going to compliment him, but Thomas Massie Christmas card is fucking insane. This guy's insane with guns. However, I give him full credit, and I'm saying this, full credit. Whatever he believes, he has stuck to his principles. He was the one of only two Republicans to vote against the big, beautiful bill for what it does to the debt. Everybody else that talked about it caved. The second Trump put pressure on him, he caved. He is one of the only people to vote against it. Additionally, he has been forcing a vote in Congress, a discharge petition is what it's called, to get the Epstein files released. And he is receiving an absolutely insane amount of pushback and pressure to try and stop it from Trump and other Republicans. They are doing whatever they fucking can to silence him or shut him down. And all he needs are 6 Republican votes to get it released. And they can have it done now. He's got the discharge petition now. He has 4 right now. If he could just get 2 more Republicans to flip, we could release all the files. And they cannot get it right now. Trump has gone to war with this guy. Trump vows to lead the charge against him. They are doing everything to stop him. So that's part 2 of what's going on right now. This is like a big live battle. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson for the Republicans has been cutting Congress early, like sending them to summer break early, ending all meetings before the vote could be taken. He's like doing whatever he can to stop it from even being voted on. So there's like this weird circle of ranks protection that's happening to stop anything happening with regards to forward motion on the Epstein bill. So that's the 2 thing. That's Thomas Massie. And then the third thing is the most insane. It's hilarious. It's wild. So the third thing is that within the past 48 hours, a senior member of the Department of Justice thought he was going on a date with a younger woman that he met on Hinge. It turns out she was an undercover reporter for a right-wing news source, Veritas, and he was honeypotted. And she caught him on tape saying that they were planning to redact all Republican names from the Epstein list before they released it. And that they were giving Ghislaine Maxwell, they were throwing her a bone to keep her silent. So we're going to play the full clip. I want to watch it with you. This is Joseph Schnitt, acting deputy chief of the Office of Enforcement Operations for the DOJ.
Well, those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
He does look like Keemstar. Not really relevant, but that's a good point.
The thing is, it's interesting because I do deal with so many of the agencies, like the Bureau of Prisons, the Marshal Service,
Oh, okay.
the FBI. Problems because he's like, no, these have to be released.
Yeah, so the FBI wants them out.
Yep, the top 2 guys that do that.
And Bonnie does it.
I don't know what that is.
Dude, it's crazy how insanely quickly a Department of Justice acting chief folded under zero pressure to give up all this information. Like, this is like the worst OPSEC I've ever. She's barely asking. It's a first date, bro.
They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files, and have a very slanted version of it come out where it's like, look at what is going on, without really seeing any of their bad behavior.
That's insane, right? That is an insane thing for someone at a senior level of the DOJ to say. It's one of the crazier public things to come out. And his instant response, I couldn't believe this, was they put out an apology via a screenshot of an iPhone Notes app on a phone with 30% battery. But this is from the DOJ. This is from the official U.S. Department of Justice. This is their immediate response. And they quote tweeted this. This is the world we live in. It was second date. It was second date. I met a woman named Skylar on Hinge, a dating app. We had 2 dates. She claimed to be an au pair in Georgetown. She gave no clue she was a reporter or recording our dates. Had I had a clue, the first date would have ended immediately and there never would have been a second one. You never would have got that second date from me if I'd have known you were secretly undercover trying to. Of course. What a stupid statement. Of course. My profile indicated I did government work, but I did not specify for which agency. I never discussed what I did at DOJ. But we just saw the clip where you did do that. You did do that, dude.
What do you do for work again?
I work for the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Been there like 23 years. I'm an analyst. I'll be acting deputy chief.
So that's a lie. Even the beginning of this apology is disprovable in the video right below the apology that you're quote tweeting. This is crazy. My comments were my own personal comments on what I've learned in the media, not from anything I've learned or done at work. I have no knowledge of the circumstances surrounding Miss Maxwell other than what's reported in the news. I also never divulge anything about what I do at work. This is false. You just did that. So this is like, it's very difficult to believe. Now, I will say, if this were the only possible piece of evidence in the whole world, I could theoretically believe, hey, this guy wanted to sound extra cool. He is acting deputy chief. He has access. He is a high up at the DOJ. This is not a low-level person. It's senior. Maybe I could be like, okay, this guy wanted to impress this woman. And even though she's from Veritas, a right-wing organization, maybe he thought this woman's a super lib and I gotta impress her with this knowledge. But the problem is what he's saying lines up so perfectly with the actions being taken right now against the Epstein survivors and Thomas Massie. It is the perfect lineup of what they're trying to do it explains the actions and why they're so different from the words. So it makes what he's saying when he thinks he's not being recorded seem a lot more believable. These things are combining to make, like, as I said, it seems like every other story in America goes away pretty quickly. But every time I think this one's gonna go away, it comes back. It's just like at the core of something that, again, all regular people are pissed off about, which is like this weird two-tier justice systems for those elite in especially politics and business. Like there's people at the very top. They feel like they are not applied to the same level of scrutiny or justice. And I think Thomas Massie's quote was very good, which is what he said. He said, this is not going away and this will hurt our party severely. He's like, if we don't take action to get this stuff out, it's going to hurt our party severely. And I agree with that. I mean, I think like there is only one group right now that is really obstructing this, and it basically starts and ends with Trump. Trump and his influence around people around him. So it's all happening right now. I will say, it's very tough to make the case that nothing is going on when they're delaying and obfuscating once this honeypot thing came out. Oh yeah, it's a good finisher. Wait, do you know that clip? What is this? This is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, the guy who has blocked the vote over and over, including sending everyone home for summer vacation rather than let a vote be taken. His explanation as to why Trump couldn't have been involved is really good.
It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
So that is a quick line, but what Mike Johnson is implying is that Donald Trump was an undercover FBI informant to try and take down Epstein. This has never been heard elsewhere before. He kind of just slipped it in there. But what he's implying is that no matter what happens or what comes out, Donald Trump was actually an undercover informant. all along who is part of this incredible sting to take down Jeffrey Epstein, which is an incredible claim. Because if he was part of that back in the 80s, he did a pretty bad job because it took 2 decades. So he was either the worst FBI informant of all time, or it's a very obvious lie. He's a white hat pedophile. The world's first white hat pedophile. I touched those kids because I was protecting them. Truly the hero Gotham needed. Yes. The most recent Quinnipiac poll had 63% at severely disapprove of the administration's handling of the Epstein files. I think another 12% disapprove, so that's already above 70. I think what's interesting is that independents are broadly in agreement that it's not being handled well. They're negative. So it's not just Democrats here. And even, again, this is like probably one of his worst polling issues among Republicans. More Republicans think it's not well than well. And again, unless they're planning on murdering all of these victims they're going to speak out, I don't know how they're going to keep. It feels like a game of whack-a-mole where they're trying to put the lid on the bottle in all these different ways. And the pressure for the truth to come out keeps getting higher. I don't know. It feels like something's got to give. But I guess theoretically, if they can somehow silence the women speaking out and block Massey's release vote and eventually redact and then release their version of the files, they can get away with it. But definitely hoping that that's not the case. Donald Trump says it's time to end the Epstein hoax. Let's see what he had to say.
Sure. So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but...
Again, the question was about Thomas Massie, who's a Republican, a gun-loving Kentucky Republican who is trying to get the files released. And he is claiming this is a Democrat hoax.
But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now.
We'll talk about the jobs numbers later. That's a separate topic.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we.
No files have been released. The victims are asking for them to be released. Congress, in this case, Thomas Massie, is asking for them to be released. Nearly a majority of Congress, we need 2 more votes, asking to be released. And Ghislaine Maxwell was interviewed, but only privately, off the record with the DOJ, and then was transferred to a minimum security prison, which is weird. So people obviously want answers. Clearly something is going on. Deals are being made, stuff's being shifted behind the scenes, and we don't get to see the truth of it. I would love if this vote gets forced. Just 2 Republicans, that's all it takes. They already have Massie and they already have Marjorie Taylor Greene. They literally just need 2 more. I mean, the whole point is they want the list released with no redacting. If there's redacting on the list, it still throws more doubts. People are saying they could just lie or make it up, but if they tried to change the list but not redact it, like if they tried to change the list and then pretend they didn't change it, that's a big risk, right? That they're taking a massive risk because then now that's like a heinous crime. That is an extreme attempt to lie. Like that, there's so much scrutiny around it. And again, all it takes is like one guy on a date to leak, and then all of a sudden it's like the scandal of the century. In 100 years, will this be seen as Watergate 2? We'll never have a Watergate again. Watergate could only be as big as it was because of the news environment of the day. 3 major news channels and newspapers, and they focused on it with journalism for a long time. And it was a big story for months and months and months and a huge scandal, and the pressure was on. It wouldn't matter today. It's just not big enough. But even something big today has a much harder time breaking through the noise. But that's what I'm saying. That's why this Epstein thing has been so surprisingly resilient. It just checks so many boxes for the psyche of all different kinds of voters, regular people voters, because regular people aren't billionaire pedophiles. So like to them, it is a uniter across party lines.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm here. Wait, are there people on this boat, or is it just a boat that's just floating out there? Why not just like, why not seize the drugs? Is there like... They did? Oh, so they're just blowing up an empty boat for no fucking reason? Is that just... Okay, whatever, dude. Is this really the aim? I guess they're floating and the target is floating? Wait, we had 3 Navy SEALs shoot 3 different people in a boat at the same time. Is it just propaganda? Oh god, whatever. Jesus. It's about sending a message. True.
Is a complete lie. The 9/11 report, the official story on 9/11 is a complete lie. The 9/11 report is a joke.
You have the CIA following 2 men all over the planet, and then eventually even to America, right? And you don't tell the FBI. 9/11 Commission, the cover-up.
So what did happen? What did the government know? What did foreign governments know? There was a cover-up. Why? It's been nearly... What did foreign governments...
Why'd they show that guy?
...know? There was a cover-up. Why? It's been nearly 25 years. It is time Americans learned what actually happened. We're going to tell you. We're releasing 1 episode per week. You're not going to want to wait. If you're a member, you don't have to. You get... It's been nearly 25 years. It is time Americans learn ad-free. Remember, you don't have... What did the government know? What did foreign...
Am I having a faceplant moment, or is this is Netanyahu, right? Why? Okay. What is this? What is? Why is it just because we hate Israel? Why is his? He wasn't even the prime minister when 9/11 happened. No. What, I don't even know what his position in government was.
Governments know. There was a cover-up.
Just because he's the most recognizable Israel guy?
You get all 5 episodes the day it drops, right then, ad-free. Our first episode airs Thursday, 9/11, September 11th. You will not want to miss it. Join us now at tuckercarlson.com.
All right, well, that trailer and this docuseries that's coming up on the Tucker Carlson
docuseries
network is getting a lot of attention, so much so that Piers Morgan interviewed him today just to ask some questions and to challenge what many believe are simply crazy conspiracy theories among conspiracy theorists in regard to what took place on 9/11. I don't know what I personally believe. Obviously, this hasn't been published yet, but I thought that this conversation, this exchange...
Spoiler alert, she's going to agree with every single thing Tucker Carlson says.
Between Piers Morgan and Tucker Carlson was fascinating, and we're going to just give you a few highlights. Please watch the entire conversation for yourselves. But before I get into it, Cenk, any initial thoughts?
Well, before I never entertained the idea that 9/11 was anything but what the government said, and so I was like, what did they make the planes disappear? They get willing to kill everybody on the planes. It all sounds absurd. So I now think that I have seen the government do so many terrible things repeatedly and cover up for it repeatedly that I am no longer sure. And when you see things like World Trade Center 7.
Building 7, the big meme. What happened to that? What happened to Building 7, guys?
World Trade Center 7, a building across the street, apparently was so hot that the steel inside the building melted from across the street. But the government found Mohammed Atta's paper passport conveniently on top of the rubble.
Like, this is one of those talking points that got brought up a lot. Honestly, I thought this was like kind of weird. Really? His passport? But then as part of our research on that one thing, I mean, it's paper. It's not like it plummets to the ground. Apparently, it's really common at crash sites that you find people's IDs, wallets, passports. Like, that's just a really common phenomena. I didn't know that until studying the 9/11 shit, that actually happens like pretty frequently.
Yeah, there's
things that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I know the answer, but I'm beginning to come to some conclusions about what is not the answer.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at as well, right? I'm not running around saying 9/11 was an inside job. I don't know, but I do know.
But she did do the dancing Israelis meme already on Twitter, though.
That there are some serious issues with what the accepted narrative is, and in fact, they're about to get into an exchange in regard to Building 7. So let's go to the first clip.
Huge parts of the 9/11 story were left out of the commission report. For example, what happened to Building 7
which was not only not next to the Twin Towers, which were hit by airplanes, but had a building in between itself and those buildings, collapsed that afternoon for reasons that no one has been able to explain since.
It was massively on fire. The whole inside of the building was. I always like how people will ask these questions that they come off as like kind of like a truism thing where it's like, obviously the answer is obvious, but it's like, is it? People say, well, like, would you really expect a building that's on fire, that's made of steel, would you really expect that building to collapse? And it's like, well, I guess not. But then it's like, well, actually, I don't know. I've never seen a full ass fucking huge ass building on fire before when two other buildings were hit with planes. I don't know the answer to that. I don't even know if I can intuit the answer to that. This is a massive thing that we're talking about here. I don't know if it's the same as like Lego blocks.
You're not a lunatic for asking. There's no plausible explanation for how that building collapsed.
So that's the issue at play here, that I wanted to give you that portion of what Tucker Carlson had to say. And Piers Morgan attempts to explain it to some extent by providing what he feels is a similar example of another building, like just melting away similarly to Building 7. Yeah.
Before we go to that clip, Anna, I just want to say, this story broke today. I didn't know that was going to be the first topic. And for all the times that I had this conversation with Ben and a million other people, I would always say, look guys, I get everything and I'm not a physicist. I don't know how the plane could hit or couldn't hit or could crash or couldn't crash. I got no expertise on that. Just that building that is not anywhere near the other buildings, just melting down. I've never thought that made any sense. And what we should expect from our government is logical answers, not like, whatever, shut up, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Evening of September 11th,
you should never get any real answer.
Hold on, I'm sorry, just because I can't let this retarded fuck speak uninterrupted. We'll watch this real quick.
On the evening of September 11th, 2001, after the world witnessed the tragic collapse of the World Trade Centers, a nearby building mysteriously...
I don't know where this, like, it was nowhere nearby. This is like the wet market was 1 mile from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Like, no, it was like 12 kilometers. And also, even 1 mile is kind of far when you're talking about like walking, like you walk by a fuck ton of people in a mile in a huge city. And it was 12 kilometers, okay, not 1 mile. But it's, yeah, it's just like
Last,
things that...
The WTC-7. How did this almost perfect-looking building collapse? The key to this mystery lies in this video footage. Did you notice a sharp V-shaped dent at the top of the building well before the main collapse? This was the penthouse of WTC-7. Exactly below this dent, you'll be able to observe the 3 main columns of the building. You can conclude that this dent happened simply because these 3 columns collapsed.
Is there a way to unfuck people's minds? It feels like a lot of people are actually saying. The problem is that the mind is working, but it's not a problem with logical thought. There's some political thing that's fucking it. Because there are so many ways that you could protect yourself from a trap like this. Like you could just think, okay, hold on. Okay, so there's a terrorist attack against the World Trade Centers, right? Yes. And the US government allowed it to happen. Let's say all that, right? Okay, sure. Why would the terrorists also make Building 7 collapse? Like, what would be the purpose of that? Like, let's assume that let's assume your framing is totally true, that this is nowhere near the World Trade Centers, no planes hit it, and the World Trade Centers were brought down with controlled demolitions, or I guess planes hit it and they were allowed to collapse. Why would they make Building 7 collapse too? For the love of the game? Yeah, like what's your theory on this? But the thing that sucks, and this is the same thing with the lab leakers, there's never an alternate theory. There's never a single alternate theory that they have to defend. It's just a whole bunch of like, what about this? 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 And in any official story, in any factual accounting of a story, there's always going to be a couple facts that might just be hard to account for. There's just like weird shit that happens sometimes. Like, I don't know, either a guy drove fast or, a dude tripped 2 times in the same spot, or, like sometimes weird shit happens in life. Weird shit does happen, Destiny, isn't the legit conspiracy that Intel people didn't share information that they should have? I think there was an effort to avoid blame, but just hella boring compared to holographic Jew planes. Well, but that's not a conspiracy. I think that was pretty well understood, but it wasn't that they were not sharing info because they wanted the American people to die. It's that there was a real problem with coordination between intelligence departments. I think this is why the Department of Homeland Security was created, was to facilitate more interflow of information between these agencies. But it wasn't because they wanted to watch America die and for us to go to war in the Middle East for Israel and Jews and everything.
TC7. Exactly below this dent, you'll be able to observe the 3 main columns of the building. You can conclude that this dent happened simply because these 3 columns collapsed. The WTC-7 also had a perimeter tube design. 24 central core columns carried the main weight of the building. The core and perimeter tubes were connected using many horizontal girders. Unlike the other buildings, the WTC-7 had a penthouse, which carried heavy cooling equipment. Let's simplify the geometry of the girders for an easier to understand visual. You can see the penthouse of the building was structurally supported by the core columns. Here comes another twist. All 24 of these core columns do not extend all the way to the ground directly like this. When construction of the WTC-7 began, there was already an electrical substation on the site. Although the authorities didn't want to demolish this building, the location of the substation was interfering with some core columns. exactly 8 core columns. This gave rise to a rather clever idea. These 8 interfering core columns were taken out horizontally to the substation and finally connected to the ground via these transfer trusses. By observing this visual, you'll get a clear idea about how the load of these 8 trusses were transferred to the ground. This structural technique is known as transfer truss method. The issue's not over yet. Few perimeter columns of WTC-7 were also interfering with the substation. They were also connected to the ground via transfer trusses. Even though 8 columns are not connected to the ground directly, these transfer trusses made sure that the central columns are still strong. Please keep the details of the structural connections in your mind.
Okay.
They'll play an important role in understanding the collapse of WTC-7. From the north side, this building looks intact. But let's turn the camera to the south side. This was the true condition of the building, enduring a huge fire, with a big gash on the perimeter columns. This is real video footage of the World Trade Center Building 7 from the opposite angle. You can see clearly here that the fire in the building was spreading on a large scale. You can imagine the damage it must have caused in the building. The WTC-7 had fires on multiple floors, burning over several hours. Because firefighters were busy saving the lives of those in the collapsed WTC-1 and 2, they were unable to suppress the fire in this building. Did you notice a long gash on the south side of the building? How exactly did this happen? The only way the perimeter columns of WTC-7 create such a long and consistent gash is due to the fall of the spire from the north tower. Look at this image. They're pretty close. Anyway, the south side of WTC...
I thought these were super far away, though. Wait, fuck, I didn't even know that point. Was that in the NIST report? I think it was, but I think I just focused on the 2 towers.
From the north tower.
Jesus.
Look at this image. They're pretty close. Anyway, the south side of WTC-7 developed such a...
Wait a second. I don't even think this video is real. I think this is just AI generated, actually.
Long and consistent gash is due to the fall of the spire from the north tower. Look at this image. They're pretty close. Anyway, the south side of WTC-7 developed such a long breach of the perimeter columns. This is evident from this image.
Here comes the most important stage of this video. Here's one famous photograph from the WT-7 debris.
Sorry.
The I-shaped structure you see here are the girders of the building. Did you notice a strange 90-degree bent on them? How did this happen? The supporters of the control dimension theory...
Jesus, where did the techno... What are we doing here?
No answer for the strange bend. However, if you connect the dots logically, we will be able to solve this case.
During the collapse, did you notice a kink at the top of the building? What's even more strange is the movement in the northeast corner of the building towards the left. How is such a wall movement possible? We don't see any such kink in this footage. What's going on here? In fact, this is a clear case of visual illusion. Take a look at the balcony of this apartment. Although you might believe that the balcony is bent downward, in reality, the balcony is bent inward. The camera angle causes such an illusion. Here also, the top edge of the building didn't bend down, but bent inward. More precisely, during the collapse, the northeast corner of the building moved forward, and a region in the north wall moved inward slightly. We'll learn the reason behind this strange inward wall movement very soon. When observing the deformation of this building from a bottom camera, we get the illusion of a kink at the top, and the corner of the building moving towards the left. Now, let's review the entire sequence of the collapse to better understand how the girders bent heavily. The east penthouse was added in the year 1989 to accommodate more cooling equipment. This is why the structural support of the east penthouse looks slightly awkward. As we've seen previously, the weight of the east penthouse was majorly carried by these 3 columns, the column numbers 79, 80, and 81. During the collapse of WTC-1 and 2, tons of debris entered the south side of this building. Over time, the temperature in the building's lower floors exceeded 600 degrees Celsius. Columns 79, 80, and 81 were already under huge stress due to the weight of the penthouse. With these steep increases in temperature, they eventually buckled, forming a V-shaped collapse on the penthouse. Once the core lost 3 columns, the remaining columns were under more stress. Remember, the next 2 sets of core columns are connected to the ground via transfer trusses. At the height of transfer trusses, the building temperature was quite high, and the transfer truss failed. This put the remaining columns into more stress, and the column collapse progressed. If you observe the collapse, you can see a small tilt to the top of the penthouse. This indicates that the core columns collapsed progressively. If the core columns had collapsed simultaneously, we would not have seen this small tilt. Let's turn our attention back to the second and third sets of core columns. The transfer truss is already broken. Can you predict the motion of the structures due to this failure?
Down.
Without the transfer truss, the huge weight carried by columns 76 and 73 will make the horizontal girders bend. The perimeter columns 47 and 48 are directly connected with the horizontal girders. This means columns 47 and 48 have to bend inward during the building collapse. This is the reason one portion of the perimeter columns moved inward during the collapse, the same motion we observed in the real collapse footage. After all core columns collapse, will it be possible for the perimeter columns to bear the load of the whole building? Absolutely not. The perimeter tube alone is as weak as a cereal box. With a lengthy gash on the perimeter tubes at the south side of the WTC-7 building, it didn't fall perfectly down. Instead, it twisted, with the northeast region of the perimeter tube moving towards the camera. This twisted motion of the perimeter columns is the reason why the girders bent almost 90 degrees. In other words, the twisted girders provide more evidence for the twisted movement of the perimeter walls. The twisting of the building skeleton is once again clear from this footage. You can even observe that the other corner is twisting away from the camera. In short, the WTC-7 didn't drop straight down, but with a heavy twist of its perimeter tubes. The northeast corner moved towards the camera and the other moved away. Did the WTC-7 come down at freefall speed? No, it did not. If you analyze the original footage of the collapse, the top 18 floors came down in 5.4 seconds.
Ooh, there's another explanation for this, though. I wonder if he's going to bring this up.
This time period is 40% more than the freefall time, which is 3.9 seconds. Most of the re-uploaded videos on YouTube are uploaded after increasing the footage speed by exactly 40%. A nice trick to bring the building down at freefall speed. If you compare the WTC-7 collapse with WTC-1 and 2, you'll be able to see the stark difference in the physics of the collapse. In WTC-1 and 2, during the collapse, you won't observe any motion in the bottom region of the building. It's a top-down, progressive collapse. However, in WTC-7, without the core columns, the entire building went down together. In the location of WTC-7, currently, you'll be able to see a taller building than this, the 7 World Trade Center. The previous electrical substation building is located inside the 7 WTC. The first 10 floors of this building is dedicated for the substation.
The collapse of Twin Towers heavily damaged many more nearby buildings. WTC-3, WTC-4, WTC-5.
The building, if you start from like the top or whatever, it doesn't. But I thought when we watched there was a physicist that broke down the collapse. If you measure from when the penthouse up top falls and the bottom, then I think it does come out to free fall speed. But it takes a little bit longer for the outside, I think. I feel like we watched that when we did the, when we were going through what was it called? A new Pearl Harbor thing a long time ago?
And even WTC-6. And you know what happened with WTC-7. All these buildings were damaged to such an extent that they had to completely demolish it. Some of these buildings were later...
This building wasn't even close to the World Trade Centers, though.
...reconstructed. Before I end this video, I would like to pay tribute to a man who taught me a lot about different structural movements of WTC-7, Mr. Joe Hill. Joe Hill passed away around 3 months back after a long fight with cancer. The greatness of Joe Hill was that he never enforced his conclusions on me.
Sorry.
Instead, he proved me logically,
I'm not laughing at this guy. My
with
bad.
help of photography and video evidence, what's the nature of WTC-7 collapse. And this man spent his last 15 years of his life studying and analyzing WTC-7 collapse, also writing about it. Mr. Joe Hill, I will always cherish the long email conversation with you, and thank you for all your support.
Who is this person? Free Ghislaine. I was raped 25 times on the island. Maybe stop boarding the flights that take you to the island. Jesus Christ.